All right, y'all. We're back with catching up with Coach. We're here with Angel. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Angel? Let the people know.
Who is Angel? I am a mother of three. I'm Christian, author, a small business owner, jack of all trades.
That's what's up. So where you do a lot of your business at here in South Jersey?
Yeah, and but I have clients like in Texas, Ohio. I've had pretty much clients everywhere. So it's the way I do business. I'm not constricted just to South Jersey,
Nice.
but I live in South Jersey.
Cool. So with you doing that, how hard has it been being a small business owner, being a minority and being a woman? What challenges do you meet?
I think the biggest challenge is getting the support of the people in your own city or getting people to see the value in what you do. A lot of people take writing not so serious when it comes to business, and that's why a lot of small businesses fail because they don't have adequate business plans. They don't have an adequate plan of course of action for the long haul. They just go with it, and so they don't realize how important it is to have that in place. And I refuse to come down on my value. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting as
Nice.
well as the writing background. So it's like, I paid for this. So,
Exactly.
I want to help everybody, but at the same time, it's gotta be beneficial.
Nice. I like that. So with our communities being in the state that they are, how do you think that we can encourage more unity in our community? Some
I
methods.
think I think the first thing for getting unity within our people is believing in each other. I think the biggest problem in our communities is the fact that everybody thinks they're competing with each other. And I think when we come to terms that we're not competing, we can work together, everybody can get money out here, or everybody can thrive if we work together. I think that's when we'll realize how strong we are together because divided, we fall.
That's
And
right.
as a result, you see when we fall in, it's because it's a lot of division.
That's right. It sure is. So what do you think we could do to kind of break down those barriers to where people will lose the competitive mindset?
I've seen in some of the groups that I've recently joined, what they have like different posts where people put their business pages up
Hmm.
and they encourage each other, go on and follow each other. Like I'm getting notifications now where different ones where I put my business pages up, they're like, okay, I followed you, now follow me back. And so that's where it begins. You never know. You do that and you might go down that list and say, hey, I need that service, or hey, I need something like that. That's how you find out what's in your community because otherwise you won't know.
That's right. Cool. Now, would you said you had 3 kids, right?
Hmm.
So what do you have? Like,
I have a 13-year-old and a 12-year-old son, and then my daughter is 9.
cool. So we all know the situation that happened down in Georgia and
Hmm.
other situations. So what is your view of the justice system, the judicial system as a whole?
Honestly, I have not a good view on our justice system as a whole, and I think, it's funny because I started a Harvard course today, and I had to read the Martin Luther King speech, and one
Hmm.
part stood out to me. He says when we can't be satisfied with when police brutality is at a high, and we can't be satisfied when just these different things, and so they want us to not say something and they want us to kind of cower to the side. And I think it's time for our people to kind of stand up and be like, okay, this ain't gonna fly anymore. And it's gonna take a unity, like we talked about already. It's gonna take unity for that to happen. Without unity, we're still gonna be stuck in this place where it's like another Black life, another innocent life has been taken prematurely.
Hmm. So how do you think we get to like a common ground? Because people always have the like even from a biblical standpoint, where even Paul ran into that with Paul and Apollos. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, where he
I
said
am.
y'all making it a Paul Apollos thing, but it's not really a Paul Apollos thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the same thing in the Black community, where it's like we make it a Martin Luther King method or a Malcolm X method.
Hmm.
So
And
how do
that's part of the problem because there's division. And I think what people think is you can't have different points of view and still work together. You don't have to agree on everything, but you can
that
still work together. You have a common goal, and that's where you meet at the middle. I might not agree on how you interact this way, but I agree with the common goal at the end of the day. So when we get to a place where we say, I don't necessarily agree with how you want to go about it, but we do have a common goal, then we can meet in the middle ground. So
exactly?
so if you want to be violent, y'all go be violent, and we'll be peaceful over here. And we'll put money on y'all books.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I mean, like, all jokes aside, that's where, I mean, just because somebody doesn't agree with you, that doesn't mean y'all have to be enemies. And that's where I think in the Black community, that's our biggest struggle, because if somebody doesn't agree with how we view something, you know, now you have the people who are like, oh, y'all corrupted with the regular Bible, and now you got the Islam movements, and the ones that think they're Israelites, and there's so many sectors. And so, you know, rather than respect each other's religion, one person wants to look down on the other one. I can't tell you what to believe, but don't try to tell me what I believe is wrong.
Exactly.
You know, so as when the division gets out of the picture, then we can move forward. But as
That's
long as there's division, that's going to be the crutch of our problem.
that's right. And I like the way you stated that, because that's so important, because it's just be those little small things, just like even
Mm-hmm.
referring back to the Bible where it says we got to learn how to lay aside every little small weight
Yeah.
that so easily beset us, you know. And I think so many people get involved in that, or he's a black male, or she's a white female, or they're educated, that person's not educated, or they're from Christian, I'm from violent, or
Mm-hmm.
or I'm from up north, you from down south, I'm city like, you're country like, and there's so many.
Yeah. Yeah, like I had this conversation with my son
Mhm,
recently because, you know, certain time I say something, he'll be like, Mom, you sound so white. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And he's
mhm,
like, I'm like, no, I don't know. And that's a common misconception in our community. Like if you articulate or if you talk proper grammar, all of a sudden you're acting white. But if we go to statistics, the African American female is the most educated one bunch. So how are we acting like them if we're the most educated? And so, you know, I just wanted to bring that to his attention, because you don't have to act a certain way that the media tells you have to act for somebody to respect you as a Black woman, as a Black man, whatever. You get respect for how you act and how you treat other people.
exactly, exactly. That's good stuff. So, with your sons, your daughter as well, what is your biggest fear for your children in the world?
My fear is I I have two fears. I fear that they won't get what was instilled in us.
Mhm,
And by us, I mean, you grew up in Fairfield Township just like I did. And I remember the Black History Bowls. I
mhm,
remember having to draw the Black History figures every February. And you don't see that anymore. And
mhm.
I'm just afraid that they're not going to have that history to drive them to keep, you know, striving. Like that was my motivation. All these people did so much just so I could have an education, and I didn't want to let them down. And
Ex-
my children are super smart, and I'm like, don't go and squander this. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I know all it takes is one false move, and I'm like, you already got two strikes against you, because one, you're Black, and two, you're a male.
yeah,
And so I just instill that in them. Like I push it so hard because I'm like, you got to be extra mindful. You know, some people out here, they got to be mindful, but you got to be extra mindful because you already got two strikes against you.
exactly. That's the truth. So, where do you think we can get that sense of belonging, or that sense of comfort? And because that's one thing that I think is lacking, especially in the Black community, that I tell people, is that we're so limited in our ability to be able to make a mistake. You know,
Right.
there's no backing. Like, I can't really speak too much for being white or Spanish because I'm obviously not that. But
Mm-hmm.
though, from my point of view, people have more room for error. You
Yeah.
know, and we don't really have that room. So, how do you think we can kind of reassure our sons and daughters that, it's all right to make a mistake? Did that come from family structure, you think, or community based, faith based?
I think it's a little bit of it all, because I think honestly, children hear that all the time from their parents. But I
Hmm.
think if we had individuals in the community to kind of reiterate that to them, like
Hmm.
people notably that the children can look up to. And I think that's where mentorships and stuff come in. Like I've been saying for years, I want to do women with a purpose. And I really want to bring that to Cumberland County, because I feel like we need to bring awareness to resume writing, wanting to encourage young ladies to want to go to college. You see so many generations where it's like, well, my mom had children and lived off of welfare, and she got house, and then she got this, and then she got that. And it's like, don't you want more out of your life? And so I think if we encourage young women to do things, to step out, to broaden their horizons. Some people ain't never been outside of South Jersey.
Exactly. That's the truth.
And, we made it a point with our children very young. Like my daughter, her first trip to Disney, she was 5 months. She probably don't even remember it. And
Yeah.
then there again at 2, we made it a point to make sure they can have vacations and they can have road trips every year, because we want them to see more of the world. There's life outside of South Jersey. And so
Exactly.
that's the goal. I don't want them to be like, oh, I'm going to just go to college around here. No, broaden your horizon. And so if we get enough people to encourage them to want to do something different and
That's
branch out. Like I joined the Army and as a junior in high school. I
wow.
didn't even know that was a possibility. But so many people after I did that came behind me and was like, I want to join too, because that was a positive experience. I was able to come back and share it. And so as a result of that, other people was like, I'm going to try this too.
Wow. That's good stuff. So with all that, all coming together, how do you think we can fix the community in your opinion?
I
Like, where
think
do we
to
start?
fix it, it's going to take all of us collectively. It's too many little sects,
Hmm.
if you understand what I'm saying. And I think if we all come together as a collective bigger set, we can do more together, because you might have some resources that somebody else's needs. And likewise, we may have resources that you can use. So rather than try to do it separately, y'all can bring it together and put all the resources on the table.
Nice. See, that's perfectly stated. And I think, dialogue is important, because,
Mhm.
I think social media has taken away from, face-to-face conversations,
Yeah.
dialogue and people coming together and not, hiding their feelings and everything behind like the keyboard, you know. It's good to get in the same room sometimes and have,
Mm-hmm.
collective, honest dialogue. You
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
yeah, go ahead.
I think too, we need to get to a place where we encourage one another in the positive things we do. You see so many people go online, and when you see somebody doing something negative, and all of a sudden there's like 200-300 people on it, but
Yeah,
something like this that you're doing and you got 1 or 2 people viewing, like it takes 2 seconds to share,
yeah,
and a lot of people will sit and watch a video where somebody's smoking a blunt, and they'll sit and watch it, and I'm like, he did that for 19 minutes and y'all sat there and watched that?
yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't get it. But, I can't tell people what to like and not to like, but I just think if more people would share positive things and uplifting things, or take the time out, even if you don't watch the whole thing, like, you never know, something might be in there that can touch you, and it might not be in the first 5 minutes. You might not get it until 5 minutes in, and it doesn't hurt to share it. That's why whenever I see something I think can help somebody else, I'm sharing it, because it's not about just me. If you're going to say you're going to do work, then you got to be able to share with everybody. You can't just go for what's beneficial to you.
Exactly. That's the truth. So I definitely appreciate you coming on. So if you want, you can explain, what your business name is,
Hmm.
so that way
So my company is called 5011 Productions,
Mhm.
and the premise behind the name is like 5011 is like a Southern term,
Mhm.
meaning pretty much just about anything. So, or a whole bunch of something. So a common term would be, I done told you about 5011 times not to do that. So it's like, um, but the premise is anything writing related. I've done college papers, I've done resumes, I've done bios, I've done elevator pitches. Anything basically you can think of writing related, I do it. And
Nice.
so that's behind the 5011.
Cool. I like that. It's catchy. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. So appreciate you. Thanks for coming on with catching up with Coach.
Absolutely, anytime.
Yep. So if you need me, hit me up.
All right, sure
All
will.
right. Take
All right.
care.
All right.